I'm
I
doing it right
did.
now. Sorry, y'all. What is going on, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome again to the Tuffy Talk live show. Again, another episode here. We're so excited to get rolling here. Sorry we're a couple minutes late. It was actually a complete fail on my part. I'll be completely honest in front of everybody. And even if I embarrass myself saying that we were actually starting, but it didn't go completely live. I clicked the button, but for some reason it just said, nope, you're not ready to go live yet. So we were talking, we're like, wait, we're not live. So we had to redo it again. So apologies for being a couple minutes late here. But just as a kind of FYI, just kind of how this works for those who have already done support, you know the drill. But if not, as always, just send us a comment, send us a question, send us a thought. Even just let us know who is here. Just give a what's up or a, hey, how do you do, whatever you'd like. But with that being said, before we even go a step further, we do want to take a second, even though obviously, it says tweet of the week, but again, just wanted to kind of, put it on the presentation slide as we always have. We want to start this thing off immediately by highlighting Lavelle Davis Jr., Deshaun Perry, and Devin Chandler with the UVA football team who tragically lost their lives last night due to an active shooter. Obviously, again, all three of these guys are between 20 to 22 years old. Tragic to say the least. And obviously, too, our hearts go out to not only these three and their families and friends, but also to, as of right now, the reports that there was two others that were injured as well. So hearts and thoughts and prayers go out to all those affected, even the students as well, as they mourn the loss of three brothers for sure. And again, definitely to the entire football team, to all those affected. I mean, I can't imagine losing three brothers in this way, and so definitely hearts and prayers go out to all of them. Any other thoughts, comments here from the Tuffy Talk team?
I was on Spaces on Twitter Spaces of one of the UVA players started it about an hour ago, and everybody was just talking and venting, and there were a lot of state fans in there talking about how we're here for them. UVA strong and all this. Me and Hannah were talking about it earlier. I can't imagine the pain that not even just the community, but the fans and friends of the team at UVA. Because I can't imagine us like having to go through that here. So definitely prayers and thoughts to the families and everybody affected.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I was at the UVA Miami game like 3 weeks ago. I actually parked in that garage where that shooting was. And so just like for me, it was, a little surreal. I've lived pretty much my whole life in Virginia, so I'm, a Virginian by living rights, I guess. So, but I can't imagine, if this were reversed and this was state, I can't even fathom. So not even having a connection to this team, it's still just tough to process. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm gonna add this
and
too.
Obviously by choice too. We're. Go ahead, Macon.
No, I'm just gonna say this too. I'm really glad they caught this guy, and I'm really glad justice is going to be served here. Even when you look at this guy who committed this crime,
allegedly,
allegedly.
Yeah.
If you look at his, if it's the guy they say is this alleged guy, he had like such a great high school resume, if you will, a lot of accolades. So yeah, so you don't never know, guys, what people are going through, and so that's where you really need really good friendships. You really check in on people, see how they're doing, and not be just this flippant, hey, how's it going? So that's fine sometimes, but you need to be able to check in on people, and not take those relationships and those friendships for granted. But I am my contribution in this conversation is I am glad they've caught this guy. So,
And the one other thing which I want to give a shout to, talking about unfortunate situations, but this one does come actually much more close to home, is recent news is that there has been now 4 suicides of 4 students have committed suicide just this semester alone, individually, not at the same time. So it just goes more to show that, I mean, again, this is obviously a problem that even still affects us right here at home in terms of mental health. So I cannot stress enough, first of all, again, our hearts and thoughts and prayers and everything that we have goes towards all those affected as well, in terms of with this tragic news going on, even here right on NC State's campus as well. So, definitely want to take this time to not only highlight these 3 men here on the screen, definitely all those affected in the UVA as well, but as well, got to highlight as well, those going on right here on campus. I know that there's been a lot of parents and families that have stood up saying that this is something that needs to be addressed. So just, again, y'all, just cannot stress enough, just like Macon was saying, in terms of always, keep in mind, that we're all human. We all have thoughts. We all have, depression, that we're dealing with. We all have, things in the way that we're dealing with, and at the end of the day, we have to rely on other. WOLFPACK Nation is a family first and foremost. And, definitely losing 4 is tough for all of us. So,
I'm gonna add another note here too. Devin Chandler was
going to say the same thing.
Huntersville, North Carolina. So right there in Charlotte. So I don't know where Lavelle or Deshaun were from, but
one was from Miami. I don't remember which one was from Miami, and then another one. I don't want to speculate where he was from, but I remember one was from Miami.
Yeah. So I mean, this is a guy who is a North Carolina kid, played at Huff High School. State has recruited a lot of guys from Huff. So you can imagine probably some of the guys on our team who
some of our guys have posted it. Keon posted it. A couple other guys have posted it.
Yeah.
So it's hit, and Trent Pendix was even emotional on his social media earlier today. Like it's hitting everybody.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So.
And just kind of highlighting a couple of comments as well. Khalid, Nick, Colby, Endgame, thank you all so much as well. Again, so definitely, again, hearts and thoughts and prayers to all affected for sure. All right, so now kind of moving on here. Obviously, definitely tough again. Obviously, weekend for NC State fans as well. You're obviously coming off of a tough 21-20 loss to Boston College. We're definitely going to talk a lot about that here today. And obviously, Macon, I know you were kind of talking a little bit here, obviously enjoying your anniversary, which happy anniversary to you and your wife, by the way. Talk to me a little bit in terms of thoughts on the game, brother.
Well, first off, even you just saying that is like, I can't believe we're even having this conversation. Like, why are
Absolutely.
we even talking about this like game like in this way? So I didn't actually watch the game, and honestly, I'm glad I didn't now. But I was hiking, and I saw this score, and it was 17-7 at halftime. But I had a friend text me, and was like, "Yeah, this game's a little more tense than I thought it would be." And I was kind of surprised. Like, okay, well, it's 17-7. You're up by 2 scores. I mean, at halftime, make it, double it up. You're up by 20 points. That's about the line, in the game. I look at the about fourth quarter, and it's 20-14. I was like, what the heck? And watch the very end of the game. I did not see the PI call.
It wasn't PI. That's why you didn't see it.
I said the call. I'm not saying the PI. The PI call.
I'm so mad about that.
But here's my thought. I didn't watch it, but here I could probably give a more just genuine, larger view. That one PI call is not what ended the game, made the game for us. We should have even been in that situation, in my opinion. Like, this team is so much better than that
Yes,
you can't blame the refs, although there are specific points in the game that are big deals, right? So this is a big deal, it sounds like, and I'm sure we're going to cut up some footage here and look at it, but
I don't even want to
this is a game where it cannot be just on one guy. I saw Twitter was like, fire Beck now. Maybe there were play calls that were on Tim Beck. I'm sure that there are plays you want to come back. I don't know.
We'll get into that.
I think, but MJ I know he had 2 fumbles, right?
Two fumbles and
interception.
And a pick. So that 3 turnovers by your quarterback position. He's a true freshman, guys. I know we thought he's looked phenomenal to this point, but he had a regression day. He did not look good. And part of that was because, in my opinion, another part, I didn't think it sounded like a little bit I saw the offensive line didn't do a great job. They were letting this one defensive end or defensive tackle just get to MJ, at least in the third quarter when I checked in a little bit, or the fourth quarter, whenever it was. So not a one guy thing. I just can't believe we're even talking about this. I mean, you cannot lose that game. That game on senior night, your last home game of the season, to win a new record. You tied the record, so this senior class can say they tied the record. They've only done something that's been done in 50 years, so they can hang their hat on that. But you could have beaten that was a bad 2-7 Boston College team at home, the last game, to get 17 wins for the senior day. You just can't lose that game. I don't care. You can't make that pig look any prettier. It's just ugly. So
she ain't winning no prizes at the fair, that's for sure.
Yeah, you can put a lipstick on a pig all you want to, but it's still a pig in the day. This is just a bad, ugly loss. There's no way around it. I think this is going to be one that state fans for a long while. I think it's good it's Boston College, because it's Boston College, right? If it were UNC or Duke or Wake Forest, it would have been, or Clemson even, it would have been astronomically worse. I think it'll be something, though, that will be like, man, that is to me, here's my statement. That is Dave Dorn's worst loss.
Yes.
Of his 10-year career.
Yes.
Yeah, and I just don't think there's any way around that. I mean,
no.
Tell me one that's worse than that. I can't think of one.
That Wake Forest game was pretty rough.
Yeah, we were favorites in that game in 18.
But also, too, I would say to that immediately, saying that, first of all, we didn't really have any film at that point on Jamie Newman, on top of the fact as well that it also didn't have the implications about the 17 wins either. Exactly.
Yep. And that Wake team won 7 games, I think.
That Wake team was solid.
Might not win another game.
Yeah.
He might not win another game.
Yeah, go ahead, Kens.
Also true.
Okay. Other than the pass interference, I'm gonna be, I promise it won't be bad. Talking about the MJ Morris fumbles and interceptions. A true freshman is gonna fumble when it's a QB sneak every play of the second half. You gotta throw the ball. You can't. I mean, he's gonna fumble. Like, a true freshman is gonna show he's a true freshman in situations like that. We gotta trust our running backs more. Gotta trust our wide receivers more. I don't know if it was. I was talking about it with Hannah. Was Grant Gibson getting hurt that big of a difference in the second half?
Yes.
I think
it changed.
But it shouldn't have been.
We didn't throw the ball.
Was it Lyndon Cooper? Was Lyndon Cooper the backup?
No,
McMahon
went to
McMahon. Yep, McMahon.
But I'm like, I don't understand. playing those first 2 drives and then the second half not throwing the ball but maybe 3 times.
Well,
I
and then
I
I
don't-
don't know if we're getting too far ahead of, but then like your tackle's getting beat, and instead
That's
of
what I was
rolling
gonna
him
get
instead of rolling to the opposite side, we just leave him in the pocket just to get shredded.
Mhm.
Yeah, I didn't see in the little bit I saw. I didn't see where the center was getting blown up. I saw the tackles being
Well,
like,
for me, the center he's your quarterback on the line, calling
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
calling protections
debating
and all
that.
of that. So, you're replacing a 5th-year senior with I don't know what.
I think he's a redshirt sophomore.
Yeah, I mean he's not got the experience, so
But, I
that's
mean-
obvious. So that's where you need your OC to really step up and help out. You're running to a quarterback and a center who's probably played a total of 5-6 games at that position. So you're not doing your guys any favors there.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
me and Greg talked after the game, and just one more thing about that pass interference call.
We'll get to it.
Have been one of the freshmen, like Aiden White or somebody that did it. It was Drake Thomas. Drake Thomas has the IQ of an amazing football player not to put himself in that position.
Yeah.
And like
Yep.
that's what it just baffled me that flag was thrown on Drake. Like if
Yeah.
it would have been Aiden White, one of those guys, I would have obviously would have hurt, but I would have understood. But it's just like you can't make that call at home.
And I'll hold my comments for that pass interference. You said we're going to get to it, so
Yeah, we will.
yeah, I think we can go
Yeah.
to the next
Cool.
topic at this point.
And also to Aaron as well. We need to get the ball to Thayer more. We'll definitely get to that here too soon as well. Don't worry about that. So
There's
that being
so much we could have done better.
Oh God! So we'll definitely get into that. Don't worry.
Yep, I know. we will.
But before we get into that, because again, that conversation will take definitely the rest of the live show. We want to touch base on a couple other things non-Boston College related. So first thing we want to do is give a shout out to our girl Jakia Brown Turner on joining the 1,000 Career Points Club. So shout out to JBT for sure. Again, I mean, obviously an exclusive club and definitely a
36.
great player. Go ahead.
She's the 36th to do it, so
36 do it at NC State, correct?
that's correct.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, and again, it's, for sure, especially with how much basketball, again, we're only 2-3 games into the season.
2.
So yeah, 2 games in. So we still got a lot of basketball left here,
3.
a lot of postseason left to even add more to that. So, but definitely again, her accolades continue to grow and definitely, we'll be excited to watch her and the rest of this team here who has gotten off to a phenomenal start to no shocker of anybody for sure. Any additional comments from the Tuffy Talk gang or from the viewers as well?
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna talk about yesterday's game. We were there. Let's keep an eye on Sanaya Rivers. She got dinged a little bit on a layup.
Yeah.
Should be okay, but just something to just kind of monitor. Again, our opponents for the next week or 2 are okay. It's when we start playing UConn and Iowa here soon. We need to really worry about her. So
It's coming up Sunday.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, because I know too, kind of talking about it is definitely the depth on this team is interesting. In the fact, I mean, there's a lot of pieces that are just not necessarily as proven, but can they be, effective? Absolutely.
I don't know if even proven is the right word. They haven't played together enough. Like, so,
I agree.
obviously we're trying to figure out the combinations. There's a lot of talent there. And I've watched the first couple of games and there's a lot of moving pieces and Coach Moore is just trying to, figure out the right combos and,
Absolutely.
And Coach Moore, I trust. So I don't
Amen.
think we have too much to worry about there.
Right.
No, absolutely. And Benjamin Ormond asked about to the status of Grant Gibson. One thing which I do want to go ahead and say is pretty much declined to comment on any injuries really right now. So no real updates at this time about Grant or Demi or whoever. So
by the way, that was the shortest Monday press conference I think I've ever seen him do.
Yeah. I mean, it's obvious he was definitely shaken by the Virginia stuff for sure.
Yeah,
it's definitely obvious he was shaken by that.
Yeah. There was a lot of things, but yeah, I just thought that was interesting.
Absolutely. All right. So next, got to give a shout out to NC State wrestling, baby, off of a huge weekend. Definitely impressive for sure, especially the win over Nebraska. It was again top 15 team in the country, 23-10 win, and then a 32-4 win over Lock Haven. Again, basically it was a dual meet back to back. And NC State Wrestling came out absolutely looking dominant. Big dubs for sure coming out of NC State Wrestling at Papalizio. Coach Hall, Coach Hiley, Timothy McCall, all those guys. Hats off to you all. what a great weekend. Look forward to seeing what else can be done here in the next few weeks. I know it was kind of funny. I saw Chuck Coates already tweeting out, I think it was February 17th, that in-state wrestling goes to UNC. So make sure plenty of time in advance. Ain't no way everybody doesn't say that, you didn't know about it ahead of time. We're telling you now that in like mid-February, we're going to UNC. So
they have a small gymnasium, don't they? They have a small gymnasium, right?
Yeah, well, no, we got to fill that small gym.
Their gymnasium was so bad they had to go wrestle on the baseball field yesterday.
Nice.
Did anybody see that? They literally had a wrestling match at the baseball field. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
On home plate.
It was kind of interesting, though. I got to give it.
It was kind of
different.
interesting.
It was different.
Yeah.
So
I wasn't giving them credit for it. I was trying to turn it around.
Absolutely. I know, right? Absolutely. I know. Again, I'm just like, hey, but also too, they lost. They lost to Michigan on it. So I'm okay with that.
So that's probably a one and done for them.
Yeah,
ABC.
Exactly. ABC always. Yeah. So next, got to give a the biggest shout out to the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Automatic himself, Chris Dunn, for during the Boston College game becoming the ACC all-time career field goal leader.
ACC, not NC State, ACC.
I'm sorry, did I say NC State?
No. I'm emphasizing what you're saying. Like,
oh yeah,
not NC State, ACC.
Yeah,
the whole conference's history. He is the best
16 teams.
And he also moved to number 10 in the country in the career of football. Like he is top 10 of all time college football scoring.
He if he does not win, if he keeps this up, obviously. Yeah. But I'm not gonna talk on what I think he is having a type of season to this point where he should be in the conversation. He's in the conversation. He's got to be one of the main guys, if not the main guy for the Luke Rosa. He's just
definitely will.
I mean, if I think the other kicker
from Iowa, I think.
I thought it was Iowa. TCU. Maybe it was Iowa. Okay,
Iowa's kicker is really good too.
He's right above Chris.
Look it up. Yeah. I'll look it up in a second. But go ahead.
But I do got to, because I know that I think it was a couple of weeks ago, Greg, that we were kind of talking about, is NC State, is Chris Dunn the best kicker NC State's ever had?
He is.
I think it's synonymous. It's unanimous.
Now.
There's no doubt he is the greatest kicker NC State's ever had.
It was the second.
It's not even close. It's not even
close. It was the second worst Tuffy talk take ever, next to Macon taking his fantasy coach. So
we're never gonna let that down.
No, we're never.
I got cute during that, but dude, like he's not even close. If you pull up NCAA.com,
he's not
stats. There's like 8 players tied for first in the country, right? So Stanford, West Virginia, Arkansas State, UNLV, Georgia Tech, actually, Middle Tennessee State, and Rice are all tied for first. So surprisingly, I don't see that guy from Iowa, but he has 20 field goals made in 10 games. The next closest is Stanford at 14.
That's crazy.
Like he has 6 more field goals than the next closest guy to him. So his best competition is this Joshua Carty from Stanford, who's 6 field goals behind him.
And does he break down his because let's not forget Dunn has made it. Think now 3 at 50, either 2 or 3. I can't remember.
2 or 3,
yeah. And he hasn't missed. Has the kid from Stanford missed at all?
No, these are guys who are perfect.
My apologies. I missed that.
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
So I didn't say that to be clear, but anybody in first place is perfect. So there's only 8 kickers in the country. There's one other in the ACC, which is Georgia Tech.
But like you said, 14. He's had 6 more opportunities to miss.
Right.
6 more opportunities.
Right. I mean, it's just he's the front runner in my opinion. There's nobody close to them.
Yeah. And on top of it as well, he's 26 for 26 on extra points, and his longest field goal this year is 53 yards, which I know one of the over 50 was against Clemson in Death Valley primetime. So if that's not
that right there is all you need to hear.
Yeah. I'm gonna look it up. You can keep talking about it. I'm gonna look to see what his like.
And you mentioned he's 26 or 26 on extra points.
Correct.
Yep.
He's never missed one at all
in his career. Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
Yep.
So I'll tell you here. I'm looking at it now. He has only attempted 2 field goals over 50. Obviously, he's perfect.
Yep.
He's made 8. He's kicked
40,
8 in the 40 to 49 range.
Yep. A couple of those were like 48, 49ers too. Like he hasn't kicked more of the 41 variety. He's kicked more of the upper ones.
And he has 86 points he scored this season. So
and he has a chance, I think, with the 2 games plus the bowl game, he's definitely can get to 9 and 8. I think 7 is out of reach.
Well, And we're talking like, okay, so like last year he wasn't perfectly healthy last year, but he was 68% field goal percentage and he was 0 for 3 on 50s. Right? So he's having 100%. He went from 68% to 100 and he was 0 for 3 and he's perfect over 50-yard field goals. Like he's having a crazy good and last year he attempted 19 and he scored 87 points the entire season last year. He has 86 right now and he has 2 more games left plus the bowl game.
So he's got 463. He has an outside chance. Well, he probably actually will get to. He. This is weird. So he's the all-time leading ACC scorer, but not according to Sports Reference. So
no, I think he's 6 or so points behind.
Yeah. So okay.
He's
so
NC State's leading. He's NC State's leading.
Yeah, but with that graphic said ACC all-time field goals. Is that what said?
Field goals.
Okay,
field goals.
Got it.
Yeah,
Got it.
89, I think is what it is.
Yeah. So he has a chance to become the ACC's all-time leading scorer, surpassing Travis Etienne at 468. So he only needs 5 more points for that. And so,
did we say that his all-time percentage is 84%? You said that right? Did you say that part? His all-time percentage is 84%. Just for reference, I don't think he'll get this one, but the number 1 field goal percentage in the country all time since they recorded it, which was 1956, was Brett Baer, which is a also named for a news anchor, but he played for Louisiana and he was 90% field goal percentage.
Yeah, he won't catch that.
So
that's okay.
That's all time. Just reference. So he's at 84. All time is 90. That's not probably not happening.
So more than likely, Christopher Dunn will end up his career at number 7 all time NCAA leading scorer.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And again, it just goes back to y'all that at the end of the day,
historic.
You can't doubt any of these guys, and it's because obviously my first thought goes back to the Clemson game last year. Everybody giving them the absolute hardest time, and obviously he mentions the adversity that he had to go through with that, and so the fact that he through all of that really buttoned up his tied his shoes a little bit tighter, and was up to the challenge of proving the naysayers. Man, has he done that this year. So hats off to Chris Dunn for sure. I mean, this has been nothing short of exemplary and the greatest kicking performance in NC State history. Period.
Yeah. I think it's safe to say we'll have one all ACC football player this year.
All-American.
All-American.
An All-American.
Which first team All-American. I'd be shocked if he wasn't.
In our preseason preview, that was one of my calls. I said we'd have at least one All-American. I didn't think it would be Chris Dunn. Here we are.
Yeah.
Take it any way you can get it, Michael.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, I think I'm dreading for next season because we've had years now where we haven't had any doubt when he steps on that field, and now we're just like.
We just offered that kid from Texas, that 5-star kid.
Yeah,
to get 5 stars at kicking, you got to be pretty good because I think
I will tell you, I heard behind the scenes. There's some Cougars we have on our roster now who aren't bad either. So
yeah, I mean,
it's just Chris historic.
Yeah,
I know he was hurt, but last year he was only 64%. So there were some times it wasn't automatic last year.
Yeah, 68. Yeah.
Yep. So definitely Colby again. I know that everybody's looking for us to get to Boston College here, and we're definitely about to get into that. But again, just want to give a shout out once again to State Wrestling, Jakia Brown Turner, and Chris Dunn for the amazing accomplishments this week. But now let's get into the bread and butter. So with that being said, I have one more tweet to show. I wouldn't necessarily call it a tweet of the week, but it is a tweet that I want to show to kind of get this started because I want to get everybody's thoughts on this because this definitely stood out to me. So during MJ Morris's press conference, he made the statement saying, every game is not going to be a W. That's not realistic. We're going to have losses. It's about how we respond. We've got to come out swinging. So
definitely
to me, I am not a fan of that comment. I'm not. Well, here, let me explain why.
Yep, go for it.
Before, yeah.
Yep.
So again, my thing is it really comes down to the competitive nature of the comment. Now, first of all, I 100% agree that a lot of a team's leadership is adversity and how they respond. Absolutely. But the thing which I honestly was kind of more looking for, here was more of the, like I can't I can't stand losing. I hate losing so much that that no matter what I have to do, I'm going to do whatever it takes so that way we do not lose any games, period. Now, I mean, obviously, are they going to happen? Is that realistic? Of course not. But at the end of the day, I more wanted to kind of, him to not really kind of lean as, saying we're going to have losses. Like, no, I mean, at the end of the day, like Bradley Chubb, like one guy that immediately stood out to me when I read this comment. Bradley Chubb, he is a guy that I can't remember how many times during fall training camp, he would get into fights with teammates. And it wasn't because he was a jerk. It wasn't because he was, whatever kind of word you want to call him. It was because that dude was just the biggest competitor. At the end of the day, he wanted to get the best of every single guy, even if it's his own teammates. And I saw that guy during the South Carolina game in Charlotte, just cussing out his defensive teammates right in the middle of the sidelines. And that was not to embarrass them. That was just because at the end of the day, we're getting butts whooped. We're not doing our part. We need to step up, y'all. This is unacceptable. I am not going to lose. I am not going to go down like this. So, at the end of the day, he said, guys, we need to step up. And, obviously, the rest is history with that. But to me, it just comes down to, I don't want, now again, let me go ahead and preface this immediately. Stop here and say, I am not talking any kind of bad about an 18-year-old kid, MJ Morris. I'm making that clear. But what I am saying is that I am worried about the mindset of, is there any kind of issue with this at all? In the fact that, are we so determined that we are going to beat Louisville no matter what it takes? Like, we need to go in there and absolutely pound the crap out of Louisville until we get that win, period, no matter what it takes. Like, that's what I want. That's what I want to hear a little bit. But
we didn't see what happened in the locker room afterwards.
I agreed. Again,
from what I've heard,
and again, we're fans. We're not in the locker room.
It was a Bradley Chubb in the locker room.
Correct.
Guys were yelling, screaming. Like what we saw on the field was not how it ended up when they went to the locker room.
Absolutely.
I think that I don't agree. I don't agree with this tweet, but the fact that MJ has already taken that leadership and being like, hey, he also said in his comment that he can't play the way that he played and expect and blame it on anybody else. So I think that him being 18 and already taking that leadership and saying, hey, we've got to come out swinging. We're going to come out swinging. Sure. He's not only keeping the players' minds in it, he's also like getting the fans. Because obviously the fans on social media are going to tear down a lot of the players, a lot of everything. So I think he's just trying to get everybody to know, like, this isn't over. We're coming out. But the locker room scene was a definite Bradley Chubb sideline moment from what I've heard. And no one's happy. No one's taking that loss well at all. And I think that we are going to see a pissed off team on Saturday. And that's what I'm looking forward to.
Good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Excellent.
Again, and obviously this might be me obviously reading a little bit more into it, but it's just a matter of that. Obviously, in a situation like this, you're looking for, okay, what is going to change so this doesn't happen again? Like, obviously, that's so that's just what I'm saying is like, like the part of saying we're going to have losses. I'm like, but again,
I think it.
I genuinely do. I think that they were too busy focused on Louisville and UNC, and they just totally looked over Boston College.
Yeah, and I think it's in the context of what game it was, because what he's saying is not wrong. We are going to lose games. If he says that after Clemson, it's like, okay, but when you're a 19-point favorite at home on senior day, it does have a different impact.
For me, I'm more interested in how he said it, not the words that he said. So all we're reading there is black and white lettering from a tweet. I would be more interested in his body language as he's responding to the question, right? Is he focused? Is he being nonchalant in his word? Like, to me that speaks more volumes than just black and white letters. So
absolutely. Any other comments from you making as well?
No, I mean, I this is a guy who's a freshman. He's probably the starter quarterback for now this second game, and I also don't think he's been really trained on how to speak with the PR kind of stuff yet. So they probably would coach him up. Hey, probably this is how you word it in this situation. I want him to be. I think I like MJ because he comes off as so genuine. And I want
Absolutely.
that. I get where he's coming from. I don't think the fans do, but you're right, Layla. I'm kind of like, but the mindset should be, I want to win every game, and I freaking hate losing. And I'm sorry about that. And we owe it to these seniors. We should have gone this win, but we're going to make it up for him next weekend, something like that. And I mean, he's a freshman. I mean, like no one really cares about this comment, in my opinion. I think it's just a matter of, it's a discussion for us. Okay. It's not even like offended by it. It's just, I appreciate his genuineness and his response, and I get it. And
I don't think either side of the argument's wrong, though. I mean, I think they're both valid.
Again, just like Ken's mentioned that, for sure. Again, at the end of the day, and I said this because I've been in that locker room, that no fan knows what's goes on in that locker room. I can tell you from being in that locker room, a lot of people may think, oh, these guys, like, they're just putting the shoulder pads in the locker and showering and walking out. Like, most of the time that is not happening. I've seen helmets get thrown into walls. I've seen players busting out, bawling in locker rooms. And again, I won't go into details, but again, I can't stress enough that nobody hates losing that game more than the players. Simple as that.
Especially, do you think this? Let me ask you this question. This is just a random thought. Do you think the seniors hate it more, or do you think the players who were right behind him hate it more, that they couldn't get that done for them?
That's a really good question.
Senior day's been moved to UNC. We've all talked about it. Group chat I'm in, we've all talked about it. We're gonna change.
Look at what I'm saying. Like if I'm a junior, right? If I'm a junior,
I feel like I let them down.
Right. After what all they've meant to me this whole time, we've all through so much together,
They've
and
taken you under their wing.
Year,
and they came back.
I blew it for them. I was part of blowing it for them. Granted, they blew it too, but you get what I'm saying. Just an interesting random thought. It has no significance.
I'll take it one even more. Do the coaches feel the worst for letting their seniors down?
They should.
I'll take it even more. So. Do the fans feel you?
No,
we were allowed, so it ain't on me.
We were doing everything we could in those stands. I'm telling you.
Yeah. No, at the end of the day, I want to make this clear too, because there was a tweet, which I'm trying to find it right now. Okay, I said yesterday morning, I said, waking up this morning, I still feel an unbelievable amount of sadness and disappointment. Still an absolute shock and feel terrible that we sent out our seniors in the Carter like that. So I want to first of all go ahead and say, obviously from that, I'm not saying that us as the fans, we caused that loss. No, at the end of the day, we weren't ones on the field. We weren't the ones doing the game prep. But at the end of the day, this is our football program. At the end of the day, we are NC State fans. At the end of the day, this football team is a reflection of us. Why? Because at the end of the day, I'm wearing NC State on my shirt, so just like when NC State pulls off the amazing victories, like, last year against UNC, just like I'm saying, like that is my team right there. They did that. I love that. At the end of the day, it is our team. So at the end of the day, I want to make that perfectly clear, saying I'm not blaming, I'm not blaming us, obviously, at the end of the day, but I'm just saying that at the end of the day, I don't want to say it's because of Dorn. It's because of the coaches. It's because of a certain player. Like, no, at the end of the day, it's all of us, this is our program.
That comment.
That comment was funny.
This comment's hilarious.
One?
At the end of the day, geez, Louise, what are you, Matt Rule? At the end of the day,
hey,
he said that every conference.
Yeah,
that's pretty funny.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good one.
At the end of the day, you can't blame it on anybody.
I will say this. I wore my state gear on Friday. I wore my state gear on Saturday. I wore it yesterday, and I wore it today. I will always wear my state gear, win or lose. So, one day we'll get the last laugh on these people. So I had to walk into work my day with my WOLFPACK polo on, and I just got about 4 or 5 looks going.
You just claimed to accept.
I was like, hey, my tailgate was on point.
My boss cut me at the end of this morning. He goes, the life of a State fan. He's a State fan. He was, he's got season tickets. He's got lifetime right tickets. But he's like, the life of a State fan. I was like, yeah. I met on my way home. Character.
On my way home last night, we stopped in Nashville right before we hit 95 and hit our Sunday tradition of Zaxby's, and there were 2 State fans in there, and they wanted to talk to us, and they're sharing their same thoughts. So they were really nice people. I think we got another couple of subscribers out of them, and it's what we do. We lean on each other on the good times, and then we really lean each other on these Mondays. So it's all good, man. Regardless, you know what? We're still
The season's not over.
It's not over. It's not over.
We
But hey,
still
but
get-
you know,
We can still get those 10 wins.
3 weeks
There you
ago we
go.
were at a crossroads, and I think we're at an even bigger crossroads this week.
Yeah, and Colby brings up how he is not only a State fan, but he's a Buffalo Bills fan as well. So it's definitely been a rough week for him for sure. So shout out to Colby on that.
Side note, Brandon, I saw this stat. The Buffalo Bills have not scored a touchdown the second half since week 4.
No,
Or
week
6.
Yeah, it's been 4 weeks.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
Colby-
that's what it was.
Colby, I feel
Wow.
no sorrow towards you. Your record.
Worse
Think
than
about being a
us.
Panthers fan and a State fan.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you're fine. Y'all
Hey,
are
all
going-
I gotta say is the Bucks need to play more games in Germany.
Yeah, but man, the players were tearing that field a new one, saying that was garbage field.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I saw
uh,
Brady trying to catch that touchdown pass, and he just went.
yeah,
So
boom,
that was pretty
yeah.
funny.
No. So with that being said, so I will be perfectly honest to Wolfpack Nation today in saying that I gotta be honest. I pretty much messaged the group ahead of time and said, "Listen, y'all, I unfortunately just my mind was just going 1,000 miles an hour today, wondering what the heck did I just see?" Because I'll be completely honest. I told my wife this on Saturday, saying that I felt the most confident about that game on Saturday than I ever have. Like I went into that game so confident that we were going to pull that thing out. And so to leave seeing what I saw, it just left me with so many questions of what the heck did I just see? So literally all day today, I watched the whole game back as much as it pained me. I broke down, I broke down a couple plays, which I'm going to show you guys here today. But also, too, I'll be honest as well, that I talked to Philip Danford with Inside Pack Sports and Kenton Gibbs with Lockdown Wolfpack. So, and I'll make sure to let you guys know when I say something which I heard from them, so that way you can know to go check them out for sure, which is definitely a must do. But the first play I wanted to bring up for all of us to check out, first and foremost, is the 4th down play. With 6:27.
This is the first time I'm seeing this. First time I'm
Really?
seeing this.
Okay.
Kick
So-
the ball.
So I want to start this off by saying a couple things. First of all, I'm not necessarily against the call of going for it. Obviously
Agreed.
hindsight's 2020.
Oh.
Obviously, in the moment, at the end of the game, you said, yeah, okay, if we would have kicked the field goal, it would have been a 9-point lead, and no way Boston College would come back.
But pause that thought. You have 35 minutes of game left before that decision is made. So continue.
Yep. Nope. Absolutely. Again, I mean, so and I also too, I want to go ahead and throw out this stat as well, is that there have been only 2 teams. There were 2 teams before we played them that scored less than 21 points against Boston College, and that was UConn and Maine. That's it. Those are the only 2 teams that did not score at least 21 points on Boston College's defense, who gave up an average of 36 points per game, and we scored 20. So, but again, we'll get into that. So about this play. So the one thing which I immediately want to say about this, first and foremost, all right, and Ken Gibbs said this, in his episode, but he said, you got to remember who brought you to the dance. And why I say that is at the end of the day, the guy that has been the guy for our offense so far this season is none other than Mr. Thayer Thomas. Simple as that. That guy has been the rock. That guy has been nothing short of amazing this year. And the first play of the game, it wasn't an easy slant route. It wasn't an easy curve route. It was a jump ball that was impressive, to say the least. I mean, golly, what a first play, and what a statement by Thayer Thomas saying, this is senior day.
Yep.
This is my day. I am going to make this my day. So the first thing I want to go ahead and preface, because I can't remember who it was, but somebody said, we should have got the ball to Thayer more. So here's some stats for you. So the first 2 drives, we passed the ball to Thayer twice. Keep in mind the second target was an incomplete pass. And then we targeted Thayer 2 more times on the last drive with less than 30 seconds left. Between those 2 periods, so between we scored the first 2 touchdowns and then before the last 30-second, Hail Mary drive, we targeted Thayer twice. 2 times in between that period. 2 times. Hold
on. Here's the question I have with that then. Was the read to Thayer or was the read not to Thayer?
At the end of the day,
well, go ahead.
At the end of the day, how do you not get the ball to your best guy? And
you got to find that's a good point. You got to find a way to get him the ball, right?
Get creative.
And so, because let me tell you this stat. So Boston College, one of the things that they did amazing job of, and this was directly from Philip Danford, so again, make sure to check him out, is that Boston College's OC did an amazing job of moving Flowers all over the field. There was never two plays where Flowers was in the same spot. He was in the slot. He was even as a running back one time. He was in the X. He was the Z. He was moving all over the field. He had 10 targets, 7 catches, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns. They found creative ways to get him the football. And so it goes back to just like you said, Greg, got to be creative, got to find a way to get him the ball. So saying all that, looking at this play right here. So just as a reminder, so basically what you're having here for those who are listening is so you have basically you have your 5 linemen, you have a tight end, and then you have an H-back in Trent Penix, and then you have 3 wide receivers, all who are pressed with man coverage, right? So basically meaning that each of the receivers has a defensive back on them, and then you have 8 guys stacked in the box. Now, the one thing which kind of bugged me about Doran's post-game press conference is talking about this play. He said, I felt confident about this play because we had numbers. No, you didn't. You had 8 defenders in the box. You had 7 blockers. So meaning that best case scenario, it's MJ Morris versus a defender one-on-one.
That'd be a hot read.
Right. Yeah. But so basically meaning that best case scenario is MJ versus defender one-on-one. So that is not having numbers. But the second thing which I want to say, go ahead, Michael.
I was just going to say the only thing that I could see him talking about is that kind of that safety is kind of creeped down. He might not be considering him in the box on the top of the screen, but like he's still in the box.
He's still in the box. Yeah. Now, the one thing which I do want to immediately go ahead and say, which I felt like in this case scenario, there needs to be 2 options. Either MJ Morris needs to go down under center and run the daggone ball into the end zone, get a yard, or B, stay in the shotgun and then before the play, tell Thayer, listen, Thayer, you're going to have 2 to 3 seconds. You have all of this room above the defensive back one-on-one. And so you've got 2 or 3 seconds to get open, get separation, and let MJ Morris give you the ball. And especially with only being on the 1-yard line, MJ Morris should be able to get that ball to you. If you have separation, he should be able to get that ball to you. At the end of the day, if I can say I tried to get my ball to the ball to my best player, if it works, great. If it didn't work, I can live with that. At the end of the day, you got to try and get the ball to your best player. To me, that's why I have an issue with this play is because at the end of the day, you didn't. At the end of the day, you're in the shotgun asking MJ Morris to run the ball 6 yards into the end zone.
So
go ahead,
that's what happened. I want to see what the play is.
Yeah, run the play.
Yeah, doing right now.
See, I don't hate that play call. I just don't like that he. I don't like that he. Here's why. Because MJ has been very good at running the ball. He's been very effective. I just don't like that he ran right there.
You're running at the teeth of the defense.
Yeah, I agree. Look at that space over there to the right side.
That's what I was going to say. If he does cut it outside,
correct. I don't necessarily hate that. I agree with what Delayton's saying, though. Under center, if you're the better team, right? You're the better team. You are 7-2 going against 2-7 on the 1-yard line. Just run it down their throat. Shove it down their throat. That's where I ain't come with you on that. But like another thing I look at when I look at again, I didn't see the play. That looks like a really good play opportunity for a guy like Chris Tootle right there. Bring him as a tight end and just kind of slip out, and there he is.
I have 2 things that I like to run on this that I wish more teams would do. Get your quarterback on the edge, give him a run pass option. All right, so we didn't do that, or run a boot. Miss up some kind of misdirection. You literally just lined up and said, "All right, go up the middle." And I mean, you're running at all the beef. I don't care how good you are. If you're not opening a hole, there's no chance. I mean, that's going to collapse on you.
Does that look like it's the play design to run straight up the middle behind the line out of shotgun?
Yeah, he runs that all the time.
Is that what he just did?
No, Zavala pulls, so he's supposed to go behind Zavala.
Okay. So, and here's one thing which I want. So 2 things I want to add to this. First of all, so Philip, one thing that he told me is that it was obvious in Boston College's game plan that whenever you have a pulling guard like Zavala did here, the defensive end every single time his job is to basically collapse and pinch underneath to basically get under Zavala's pull, and that's what happens here. Is that basically Zavala went too far around and basically and then the defensive end got inside of him and ended up making tackle. But the second thing which I want to point out, keep in mind that right before this play was the flea flicker, the Trent Penix, right? After the play, he got up in obvious pain. And you'll see at the end of this play, if you watch Trent Penix, number 6 right there in the H-back, that is obvious that he was injured. And it was obvious he injured his left shoulder. Well, in this play, as the pulling blocker, he is supposed to lean in with his left, basically cutting off the inside. So you're asking him with his injured left shoulder to cut inside and hit the guy with his injured shoulder, which if you watch him when I replay it, he basically pulls away from it because he doesn't want to take that hit. Watch.
Yeah.
So he actually pulls away from it.
His arm's just hanging there.
And then you saw let me pull it back one more time.
They shouldn't have kept putting him in.
So now watch him. Look at him. Look. I mean, it's obvious that he's in pain. And
Go back
so
to the
again,
beginning of the play. Go back to the beginning of the play. Just let it flow.
Mm-hmm.
1 second. Let it play out. Sorry, guys. For those who are listening, we're just looking at the play over.
Yeah.
You got to watch it on YouTube. So.
Yeah, he kind of lets him slip inside.
Yeah.
There.
Which again,
Yeah,
I can't necessarily blame him
leverage.
because he's obvious he was in very much discomfort. So
Yeah.
it just goes back to, again, there's a lot of issues there with that. But at the end of the day, the one thing which I will say that I know a lot of people have said is I don't necessarily disagree with going for it, but just again,
Let me
all
say
those
this
things you
too.
mentioned.
Let me say this too. It's a play call. It's a business decision, right? So it's like it's one of those play calls where if you get it, you look like a genius, and if you don't, everybody thinks you're an idiot and foolish and stupid, whatever. This is the way it ended up being, particularly since we lost. So, but go to the next one. I think we've hit on this a long time.
And D-Root brings up the point as well, saying that on the long throw to Penix, he basically just reached up with one hand with his right arm. He didn't even bring up his left arm to try and catch it. So it obviously goes to more there. All right. So next, I'm trying to keep them kind of in order here. So, God, what was next? It was 4th down. Trying to play.
Let me ask you this, guys. In this situation, do you like the idea that your player who's hurt is trying to play through the pain like that if he's obviously being ineffective?
No, because you hurt the team.
So you want effort. You want effort,
Yeah,
but is that a coach's decision?
Not
I think it's a little bit of a coach's decision. I think
It was the coach's decision, not.
I mean, he probably tried to check himself out, and they're like, "Nope, stay in."
Yeah. Well, because I remember after the play, he got up slowly. Like it was obvious his day that he was injured. It wasn't like he got up and jogged and kind of tried to shuck it off. Like he got up in obvious pain. So yeah. So now this next play. So this is one which I want to kind of bring up, which kind of is one example that Philip Danford and I, but specifically Philip, brought up as kind of an issue that we had in terms of with the 10-back offense, and I'll kind of walk through why I say that. So I want to start this off. So this is the MJ Morris interception. Okay, so basically what's going to happen here is that Daryl Jones on the closest side to us, the Carter Finley side, bottom, is basically going to run what's called a sluggo route, which is basically a slant into a go route. Okay, and then Keon Lassane on the far side, he's going to do the same thing. Thayer is going to run a seam route, which basically means just a go route right up the middle of the field. Okay. And then I think it's Houston who's the running back, and then the tight end, they're going to be blockers. I mean, there's only 3 guys running routes. Okay, so let's let the play run through first, and then we'll talk about it. Okay,
underthrew the guy.
So underthrew him. So the reason why I brought this up is 2 things. First and foremost,
Go ahead, he didn't have a single. He should have gone single.
I mean, Thayer's wide open, but the defensive end on the left tackle gets inside.
Thayer's open.
The defensive end,
and then once we replay, I'll make the second point.
Gets inside, so it forces Morris to roll to his right, so he's not looking back at Thayer.
Okay. Now let me explain why Philip and I brought this up as kind of an issue with the 10-back offense. All right. So in this situation, MJ has 5 options, either Keon, Thayer, or Daryl Jones. He can either throw the ball away, which he's only done maybe twice in all the time he's played. He doesn't obviously do much, or run the ball. He doesn't have any checkdowns. He has no way to get rid of it if none of 3 of those options are open. So meaning that basically his only options are that he's done is A, run the ball, or B, throw it up. And so that is the issue which we had, is that there should have been a way for MJ to get rid of this ball, but not put the ball or himself in jeopardy. You know what I'm saying? Because if he ran the ball, there was a lot going on in the middle of that field. So there's no checkdowns.
Yeah, he can still throw the ball away. It was 2nd and 8.
But the problem is that's not something that he's done. So
He
either
hasn't
coach
learned it
him to
yet.
throw the ball away,
Yeah.
or give him some to throw to.
Yes, but
again, I'm just saying that goes back to coaching. Either coach him to throw the ball away. If nothing is there, MJ, throw it out of bounds. Throw it into section 8.
So
like that's what you need to tell him. Go ahead.
So for me, the definition to MJ is he thought he had something there. You know what I mean? Like you can't teach that. Like he has to be smarter. You can coach someone up all the day. If I tell my kid not to touch the pot because it's hot, because it's boiling on the stove, sometimes they just got to do it their darn self before they figure out it's hot, right? So you can tell them throw it away, throw it away, throw it away. But if he's not going to, then there's nothing you can tell him.
And you want to, and if you're going to pick a guy overthrowing or underthrowing, you want to overthrow.
Absolutely.
So
or throw it towards the out of bounds. So we're
right.
Yeah.
But can you replay the whole play? Just let it freely go, Leighton, again.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, one thing
I want to see what's happening at the top of the screen. Like obviously that still frame. Okay. Yeah, he has Thayer wide open. He even has Lassane open too.
Mm-hmm.
What it looks like Daryl Jones is his first read, and he just stayed there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which is and to my opinion, can you replay the games? I think that was like already starting to show signs of some double coverage there. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
That was just a bad read by him.
It's a bad read. And his line did him no favors by the pocket collapsing.
Yeah,
on
that
him.
guy right on.
He has to be able to tell that safety is there. And but picking between the top receiver and the bottom receiver, that DB is all over Daryl Jones. At least the guy up top, if he's going to go to Lassane, is like 5 yards off him.
Yeah, it's a 50-50 where,
Yeah.
he's got numbers. He had better numbers up top, but with number
again,
98 collapsing
rookie
on him.
mistake, right?
Yeah.
Rookie
Yeah,
mistake. You just live, you learn. So, yeah, that's just that's good film breakdown, Lane. That's good film breakdown.
Yeah. Well, and again, it just goes down to, at the end of the day, I think we all can agree that, again, MJ is he is rushing for less than 2 yards a carry right now. He is struggling running the ball, period, straightforward. And also, too, I think we all can agree as well that we want him to run less, especially in this situation where we do not feel comfortable necessarily about what we have behind him. So at the end of the day, the last thing we need is any kind of injury to MJ Morris right now. Plain and simple.
What Droop said, like if you look at a lot of his plays, he rarely looks left.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
He's still developed. I mean, he's a very developmental quarterback.
He's only on campus for 4 months. I mean, granted, I had the joke of, Morris for Heisman. Just it was a total joke, obviously, but it was like he's looked great, but he's clearly, we talked about it last week, like he's probably going to regress at some point. Like he's going to be a rookie and have rookie mistakes. He just had a lot of them this game. So.
The other point is he went out and looked so good his first 2 games, and so now it's like, oh, he had a freshman game, and now is when you have to lift him up. And I think Kens was telling me that yesterday. It's like more than anything, like this team needs our support.
Right now,
ahead,
with everything that's being talked about right now in the locker room, outside of the locker room. These guys don't need to hear any negativity. I mean, I know that there's going to be negativity. I know that we're all pissed off from the game, but
rightfully so.
Right now,
the thing is,
hyping them up for these next 2 games, because a lot of them are not happy, not proud. They're just
frustrated,
extremely frustrated. So fans, we need to just let them know, like, look, like y'all got this.
Yeah,
bounce back. Like we got it. We're here for you. We understand.
I said it again, that we're at another fork. We can, these last 2 games, we can go out and show the world that, hey, we just had a little blip on the radar, and we stubbed our toe. It happens. We're not proud of it, but we came back and overtook the adversity.
Yep.
Can I make another place? I want to go back to something real quick. You want to play I haven't seen with the Tim back, and Nick, you could totally laugh at me, but on that 1 yard line play, you put a guy like Julian Gray in, even like I like to play like a jet sweep, I would not mind seeing that situation.
Like a run pass option on the edge, something.
Just, your fastest guy out there and run the ball 1 yard. I mean,
Yep.
I don't think that's really hard to do.
I was talking to Greg too, like we've said, like I would rather it be this game than Louisville or Carolina. I mean, it hurts worse, but it's like those 2 wins.
I don't know. I would rather. I would take Louisville.
if I would have taken the loss in the last 3, I would have taken Louisville. Yeah.
Right, because
Yeah.
on the road, it's not seeing a
Louisville's
day.
home streak. I'd rather ruin their home streak and then beat Carolina and then get that 10th win in a bowl.
Louisville has a home streak.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's fine.
That.
scary enough. Now, the one thing which I do want to say, and again, preface again, is that the criticism or the talk about coaches is, that's part of it. At the end of the day, coaches are getting paid a lot of money for, fans to be talk about. Hey, even Will Muschamp himself said, God, the Oklahoma State coach, come after me. I'm 40. Like,
Gundy.
like I'm not a kid. Yeah,
Mike Gundy.
Like,
That dude's hilarious.
like, like that. That's all fine and well. But then us at Tuffy Talk, we're never going to sit here and say this player blew it. This player sucked. This player did that.
Team effort.
It is a team
That's
effort.
what you said, Layton. I heard you say. I heard you say.
No,
it.
never.
No,
Because
no,
at the end
no.
of the day, again, these are 18 to 22-year-old kids. Now, again, can we talk about Tim Beck's offense? Or we're going to talk a little bit more about it, and that's completely fair. At the end of the day, he gets paid money to get feedback like that, criticized like that. So
I want to say this
Go
too. We should fairly break down players making plays too. So I
Sure.
think it's just a, obviously you're having disclaimer here. More publicly on like the Twitter world or Instagram, encourage the players, but like we have every right to just break things down too. So but you're right. It's these are kids. So,
But it's
So,
the
They don't
play.
control
It's the play. It's not the player.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They don't throw the
exactly.
play.
Yeah.
So yes, again, at the end of the day, so keep in mind we got 20 more minutes. I want to get through 2 more plays here to kind of wrap this up. So the next play I want to get to, so again, just kind of get the situation for those who are listening again. So this is the 3rd and 7 play, the last play that our offense ran of the game. So again, 3rd and 7, you're on your own 19-yard line. If you get a first down, Bosco only has 2 timeouts left. You can definitely greatly run out the clock. The couple of things which Kenton Gibbs even pointed out is that basically you have man-to-man coverage because, again, you got Thayer and looks like Lassane and another wide receiver on the outside, all pressed with man, and then you got a high safety, a one-man high safety, right? So in this situation, I think that, again, Ken made it perfectly clear, and I agree with it as well, that it just goes back to that 4th down play, that once again, let's not forget who got us to the dance. And in my opinion, especially if it is, because it truly does look like it, a 99% that it and actually that's what it ended up being, is man coverage. I see a lot of opportunity here in terms of mesh plays, especially since Thayer's here on the inside, that you could run, a 7-10 yard out, and basically have the defensive back running through these 2 wide receivers on the outside. There's a lot of options here to potentially find a way to get a first down, and you got to look at Thayer Thomas being there. And then the second thing, which I want to point out too, is especially in this situation, is that it seemed like to me when I watched MJ Moore's eyes, again, I'm going to run the play here, he looked at the defensive end. So it seemed like a read option, which if you watch the defensive end, he actually collapses down. So Philip even said, he was like, it was a clear keep situation where MJ technically per read option rules should have kept it. And he had an opportunity. Again, it would have been tough, but he probably would have been able to have a good shot at getting to that first down mark. So with that being said, now I've mentioned those 2 things about Thayer and then the MJ Morse read, we'll run the play through here.
So the situation for those listening is 4th and
3rd and 7.
37. Well, I'm saying 4th quarter.
3rd and 7.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And it was a stacked box as well. So you have 6
this kind of
guys in the
plays
box.
these are the kind of plays I hate.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, again, it's just a very conservative approach. Again, and that's the biggest issue I have.
Trying to not lose.
Is that at the end of the day,
Yep.
so here, let me read this.
We're basically saying is if we don't get it, we're still okay with punting. Is what you're saying.
Because we're going to put it on our defense yet again.
Yes. And at the end of the day,
That's his literal playbook. Like,
Again,
honestly.
unfortunately for Tim
yeah.
Beck, he's getting paid $700,000 a year, and yet basically Doran's saying, Tim Beck, we don't want you to call any plays at all. We want you to basically just run plays and punt the ball.
But there's a way to run the ball here because I get it. You have a freshman quarterback. All right, you're on your own 19-yard line,
straight up the middle.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you can get more creative with the run. Like if you're going to run it, at least get creative. Like you said earlier, run a jet sweep, do something. Like do something
But-
to catch the defense
again,
off guard. Like
MJ Morris has to make the right read there. I mean,
Well,
that's
and
a
again,
clear
look at this.
keep,
Look,
yeah.
the defensive end clearly collapsed down. Look at all this space in
Yeah.
between the far hash and the defensive end.
Mhm.
He could have
That's on
easily
MJ. That's
gotten
on-
close to get there.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing which Philip said is maybe this was a design that you give the ball to Jordan Houston no matter
Maybe.
what.
Maybe.
Which I don't like that though, because then MJ Morris clearly has experience running the read
You
option
want
and give him
options
that
in
option.
this kind- you
Give
want
him that
options
option.
situations, yeah.
Give it to him. Like at the end of the day, if MJ Morris feels like I have a better chance to get the first down by keeping the ball, let him do it.
Yeah,
Give him the
but-
option.
I think again, it goes back to trusting your defense more than you trust your offense at this point, especially at this point. You remember we've done nothing in all the entire second half.
Yep.
Nothing.
Yeah, you scored 3
Nothing.
points in the second half, right?
Yeah.
I think we got like less than 100 yards. I think we had like 79 yards in the second half or something.
I'm still looking at the score, and it makes me mad looking at it. Like, it just makes me mad. I mean, we're winning, but I'm like,
Mhm.
But
it
you don't
just
feel
makes me
good about
mad.
yourself.
no, you're like, we're gonna. I don't know. I mean, I don't. Here's the thing, though. You're going to say, let's put in our defense to. Was this a 3 and out by the way?
Yeah.
Yes.
Was it
Yes.
3 and out. Okay, so
Yes.
your defense has just gotten off the field and they're tired. But
They had just scored, I think, too.
you're
though, right?
punting. You're punting to them downfield,
so.
and you really just need one stop for defense who is going against. I don't know. I don't like the play call. I'm not going to say get away from that. I don't.
No.
These kind of things I just don't understand. You're not even trying to get a first down, in my opinion. Here,
No.
Well, and because again, I've highlighted two plays
short-
where Thayer Thomas was one-on-one with the defensive back, and
What-
there are not many, if any, defensive backs in the ACC that I feel can cover Thayer Thomas one-on-one.
Here's my thing is, show me here where in this play design you intended to get a first. How was this supposed to go?
Exactly.
Show it to me, because
This
I don't
play is
see
okay on
this.
first or second down.
And because I want to point out,
even then, I feel like you should be. We run the ball almost automatically on first downs every time, and it's like that should be if the Carolina or Louisville's living, that just telling you it's probably what's going to happen. So it's like, why is this on 3rd and 7? Let's just run up the middle. How is this the play design to get the first down? If that's the goal, how is that happening here? How do you foresee that happening? You really think those 6 guys, those BC's defenders suck that much?
and even better, watch this. All right, I actually just figured this
Play to
out as
win.
well.
Play to win.
Watch
Great
the
on-
defensive back on Thayer. Watch the defensive back on Thayer. Watch what he does.
They know
What does he
the
do?
run.
So what was the defensive back preparing for there? What was he expecting?
He was
A bubble
Bubble
screen.
screen.
Bubble screen. So imagine if we would have ran a pass and that defensive back immediately ran up, Thayer easily swim move, wide up and do whatever he want, guarantee you, because that defensive back knew ahead of time. I am going right after Thayer Thomas and pressing because a bubble screen is coming.
Again,
just
they
imagine.
they wanted to run the ball, make BC burn another timeout, so they only had one timeout. You get them, pin them to about the 30-yard line on their end, and you say, "Go defense, go get me a win." That's it.
Yep.
That's
And
exactly what this play call screams.
We can't keep the fact that we keep putting it on our defense is what's irritating
Mhm.
because they're exhausted.
Again,
They're
it just go-
exhausted. We can't
Alright,
get mad at them for it.
Facts.
to me, and Ken Gibbs said this, that there's 3 different kinds of offense coordinators. There's great offensive coordinators that exemplify, that increase the effectiveness of our talent,
hold on,
that make
hold
the talent even better.
They're innovative.
They're innovative. They make the talent that we have look even better than they actually are. There's solid or average office coordinators that just basically do what our talent can do. If our talent is good at running stretches, then that's what they run, is stretches. And then there's office coordinators that can't find a way to get the ball to their talent. And I feel like, unfortunately, in these 2 situations, which are big key scenarios, unfortunately, Beck is not putting the ball in the hands of his best players. He's not. And again, Jordan Houston, love Jordan Houston, Beth, but at the end of the day, this is a no-win situation. You have 5 blockers, 6 defenders in the box. He's not going to win that battle.
Can I make another comment?
Go ahead,
One,
Nathan.
2. I know Jordan Houston's the senior guy, and I know he's had some nice moments. I don't know how he ran this game. I didn't look at the stats.
He was solid, over 5 yards a carry.
Yeah, he was. There was no
He was
problem
solid.
there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
But in this scenario,
what I was going to get is, how is
Get it to
Michael
Michael
Alleman
Allen.
running?
But
Either
Boston
way,
College
that's
knows
scary.
Boston College knows that this is going to be a run play because they know that our offense is not going to be like, oh, let's go out and win the game. They're like, no, let's not go out and lose the game.
And that is another example, Macon. So literally, Michael Allen has run the ball 29 times between the last 3 games and has averaged 6.2 yards a carry in 29 rush attempts. He has been elite so far, man. Like, that's another thing that just drives me nuts is, dude, why is it taking us this long to get this guy the football, man? Like, holy smokes, this guy has looked great so far, and especially against BC, over 5.5 yards a carry against Boston College. So,
Leighton, you've already answered your question.
Yeah,
it's on the OC at the end of the day, right?
Amen.
It's for them to go find out who are your best 11, go put them out there, put them in a position to make a play and win a ball game.
Amen.
See,
Amen.
So the issue I have with what happened, we talk about not playing playing not to lose, but with the 3 turnovers, we're throwing the ball on first down. I think one was technically an RPO, but on one of the fumbles. But then the other 2 were both drop back passes on or right around midfield. You know, both our running backs are averaging over 5 yards a carry. Just hand the ball off to them, get it into field goal range, keep the clock moving, make it a 2-possession game, and that probably wins us the game. Just going conservative.
And there's a way you can go conservative and not look conservative, right? Like safe, easy passes, some slants, some outs. Like you don't have to go for the 50-50 home run ball. Like you take those chances earlier in the game, not when you're in a position to win the game.
Right.
To kind of wrap this up before we move into our last play, which I know everybody knows what's coming. 2 things. First of all, is that it's pretty much summarized that it looked like we were okay winning the game by 6 points, which to me is a problem. But also, secondly, the quote per Kenton Gibbs is, the game clock has never won a football game, meaning that's what Doran was and our team was looking for. There was basically the game clock to basically run out and basically win the game for us, and that's never
trying to shorten the game.
That's never a great strategy. So, all right. So now moving into our last play, which I know everybody knows exactly what's coming, needs no introduction whatsoever.
The field goal. Okay.
So, and the first thing, so here, let me.
Can you just put like the Wake Forest highlight here, just so we win the game?
Yeah, right.
Well, you honestly be hilarious if you had this and then you just rickrolled everybody. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, right.
Never gonna give you up.
So, a couple of things. So, and because Phil Banford and I really
Mackenzie looks really happy right now.
Yeah, right. She was thrilled to be watching this.
That ref pissed me off.
Well, that guy summed it up. That guy summed it up.
Replay it again, Lane.
It'll come. The replay. The better views of it are coming up here.
Yeah, no, he wants to, I think, see what the guy said.
Oh, no, we're not gonna read lips on that.
Nope. It's a family friendly show.
Yeah.
One time I don't get on camera is what makes me mad.
I mean, he's there at the same time. That's a 50-50 PI call.
And you don't make that call at home. They never do.
The replay slowed down too.
I don't know, guys.
So, all right. So here,
replay it live again so you can see the full speed.
So let me make this one point here before we rewatch it, Macon. So two things. First of all, pass interference is basically in play again. I talked with Philip Danford again. Make sure you go check him out with IPS. Is basically put in play to basically force defenders to play the football. You need to be making a play on the football. You can't be cutting off the wide receiver or the receiver's path. You got to be making a play on football, just like when they call a cornerback because he doesn't turn around to look at the football. Yep. That is also pass interference. Why? Because you got to play the football. In this situation, Drake actually beats the Boston College guy there. How do I know that? I can see the Boston College receiver's left shoulder pad. I can't see Drake Thomas's right shoulder pad. So meaning that Drake is actually in front of the Boston College player there. So meaning he got there first, but also watching it, the full time intended to play the football, not the receiver. And lastly, as well, at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, the ref that called it is the one on the goal line. Yeah. To me, the ref that should have made this call is the one underneath the goalpost.
Yep.
How can the guy on the goal line see this? That's my other issue.
I know.
All right, so I'll replay for you now. Megan, sorry.
He's like, let me just get real mad real quick, and now replay it calmly.
Yeah. I agree with everything you said.
Thank you, Michael.
I want to be that guy's friend.
Those are my thoughts. Literally.
I mean, what I put in the group chat, that man right there
Replay it again. I missed it again.
Is
Replay it
Yeah,
the
again.
no, it's coming. Sorry.
Is UNC's practice ref. When Josh Downs told me that, I know it doesn't affect anything, but that really just made me even more mad. It made me just want to fight him even more.
See, to me, if I'm a referee, I say it's the last play of the game. It's football. I'm gonna let the players decide. At the end of the day, to me, that is borderline at best.
That was fourth down.
Yeah.
That was fourth down. That was borderline at best.
That's what I'm saying. 50-50 at best.
50-50 at best. That was not cut and dry.
I
And
just
another
want to see
thing
it
that
live, what it looked like. It's like how in real time
There you
what
go.
did it look like?
It was bang bang. I mean, it was bang bang.
Here you
and
go.
because another thing, watch the Boston College receiver when he gets up.
He's not
Watch
even
Boston
calling for
College
pass
receiver.
interference.
Yep,
Yeah.
exactly. When he gets up, he's like, "Shoot, the game's over." Like,
He wasn't
do
even.
you see him going?
He didn't even put his hands up.
Yeah. Do you see him
Yeah.
going? Where's the flag? Where's the flag?
Yeah.
No. So
I
again,
love
it's
this dude.
There's that guy.
I love
Yeah.
that dude.
yeah. So again, now at the end of the day, again, did it come down to this play? Is this the reason why we
Well-
lost this game?
No.
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 I mean, I will say though, when you're a referee, though, like you're saying, Leighton, like that is you're interjecting in what's the word there?
Interjecting.
Inject yourself into the game. Like you're
Mhm.
saying, like I'm going to make a deciding play here, not the players, but me, the ref.
Yeah.
Yep. To me,
Yeah.
that is
And that
let
that should
players
be
play
like
football.
That's a great point.
a principal thing of like
Don't make yourself the story of the game.
right.
Exactly.
The thing that I noticed through that is like just by watching Isaiah Moore and Drake Thomas's behavior. Like I was talking to Greg, like they have probably two of the highest IQs on our defense, and if they're shocked about it, then that just blew my mind. When they called it on 32, I was
Other
shocked.
than one offensive lineman, like if you were to play it one more time, none of the Boston College players were calling for a pass interference.
No.
Just the one lineman, he was just
Yeah.
like,
Well, and I think
Yeah.
that's
He wasn't
because
even in
he saw him.
I think it
throw
was
the
after the
flag,
fact.
too.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
and then he looked
Yeah.
at the Boston College crowd and hyped him up.
Yeah.
yeah. So,
So,
and Joe
again.
G had a great
He was pretty
comment.
livid about that play.
Yeah,
call.
yeah. He was like, you don't make that call in that situation.
For the
No.
home team.
Yeah, for the home team against the home team. But yeah,
Like,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah.
against
my
Boston
thoughts
College.
are-
Against Boston College, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe if that's Clemson against State, you make that call, right? Because the ACC needs Clemson to represent. But
Right.
who gives a flying crap about Boston College?
Yeah.
Like, Boston
Yeah.
College doesn't even care about Boston College.
Again, that was just, and again, I would have a different viewpoint if the guy behind the goalpost threw the flag too. But then he is the only guy that threw that flag, and he is not the guy. You can't tell me otherwise. Like he was the guy to make that call. He
He
wasn't.
can't even see it. He
couldn't
can't even
see
get
it.
Clear cut.
Right.
All he probably saw was the Boston College wide receiver go, ugh, like right when the ball got there. That's probably what he saw, honestly.
And here's the other thing. It did not give an unfair advantage, right? Because that's the whole point of pass interference is to give an
played the
unfair
ball.
advantage. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Right, Droop, I am too.
Yeah, damn,
I'm
I'm
just
fired
mad
up.
all over again.
And that so
So-
to sum up this game, I don't
Sum up the game.
know if I was more upset that we lost the game or how we lost it on that call. Like again, I understand we didn't lose it on that call, right? Because there were still 2 plays afterwards.
Right.
But let's be real, it basically put them in position to win the game. You put the ball at the 2-yard
100%.
line, they're gonna
Well,
probably
yeah.
put it in. Yeah. So
That's what made me the most upset.
yeah,
Is the
Well-
fact that 150, like if it would have been like 100% pass interference, that's on us. But the
Yeah.
fact that call is rarely made at that point of the game for a home team,
Well,
that's what.
Or it's like-
absolutely
Or it's like a redo the down, but that gives
Right.
them first down, so they got 4 more. I mean, they scored.
And
on
we
first
knew
down,
it when
so
they
doesn't
said
really
when they
matter,
said-
but
right,
and,
They
right.
said
and
automatic-
before Macon makes his comment, I want to preface that we have like 4 minutes left, so we need to wrap this thing up.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Macon.
I was gonna say I think to answer your Greg, say you're asking if you would be more upset with how we lost or that we lost. To me, I think it's that we lost because I think I would be just as frustrated and mad if they drove down the field methodically and scored. Right? You know what I'm saying?
No, that's fair.
So, the fact that we even in this situation losing to a 2-7 Boston College team at home on senior night
Mhm.
to go get a record,
Mhm.
the last home game of the year, and you do that.
Mhm.
Like you don't lose that game. I don't care how you lose, how you win it. You don't lose. Like an ugly win is a whole lot better than a pretty loss.
All
right?
I'm going to say is next
Mhm.
time the guy that controls the lights needs to just hit the power button before that happens. That way the lights die, the game doesn't
no.
finish, like something.
Yeah, right. No,
Find a
no
natural
kidding.
disaster. Like,
Right.
Yeah,
don't
right.
lose that game.
I know. So with that being said, Wolfpack Nation, again, I hope everybody, I wouldn't say enjoyed, but
and then mortal
hopefully
words of Bill Belichick on to Louisville.
on to Louisville.
Shake
Hey
it
man,
off.
we're on
When
to
the win
Louisville.
out, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
There you go.
So-
Wins.
Hey, again,
So
we still have a lot to
confident.
play here, Wolfpack Nation. Obviously, nobody's saying here, and we're going to be releasing our Louisville preview episodes here later this week. We're actually going to be having some wrestling previews coming up here in the next 2 days. So make sure to not miss out on that. And to make sure you don't miss out on that, make sure if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, as it's free, dude, and really helps support us. And also, too, and make sure that you are notified on all of your devices whenever we go live with any NC State Tuffy Talk content, with any live shows, with any watch parties, etc. And then also to make sure, again, if you enjoyed or if you found this live show interesting, I guess maybe is the word, then hit that like button and we would really appreciate that. And also to make sure if you haven't already, give us a follow, Tuffy Talk Now on Twitter or Instagram. Go ahead, Kens.
Can we give Christian Jones a happy birthday shout out?
Hey, happy birthday,
State
Christian.
football. Love him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And shout out to
Yeah.
comment.
And
That's
Leighton,
100% happening.
you and I will be at Louisville, so we'll have Tuffy Talk on the ground.
Yep, absolutely. So, and then I think too, we're even more likely probably going to have a watch party as well. So again, make sure to stay tuned for that announcement as well. But again, thank you all so much for tuning in. Really appreciate everybody's comments. We are in this together. Wolfpack Nation is a family first, and we are in this do or die Wolfpack Nation for life, no matter what, period, straightforward, all day long and twice on Tuesday. Thank you all so much again for tuning in. We will see y'all soon. And as always, go Pack, baby.